Hello, I'm Brandy Egger, back of LooseTooth.com, and it is Studio Tuesday. I am not home. I am not in the studio. I am in New York City on an actual vacation. And those who know me know that that is pretty much unheard of because I am really bad at traveling without working, without adding some way to teach or speak or hustle. So I am actually here on vacation thanks to several European friends and one Canadian friend attending Kelvy and Alfredo's workshop that was outside of New York. And they actually talked about this workshop last summer when we were in Denmark for UViz. And I said, can I come? And not to the workshop itself. It sounded like it was a wonderful experience, but I joined up with them here in Manhattan after their experience. And so this really is a recharge, a vacation, it's probably a little more extroverting. Usually one of the things I absolutely love about travel is being totally solo and wandering streets and just, keeping my eyes open and my ears open and observing. But this week I have my gorgeous, beautiful partner, Jeremy, with me, who is in New York for the very first time, and my wonderful friends and colleagues. It's Bea and Christina and Nuna and Raquel. And we got to meet up with Mona and Sam yesterday. So I want to talk today briefly about the conversation I had with Sam. I'm just making sure I don't drop my phone on my face. This wonderful conversation I had with Sam Brad yesterday afternoon. So we had this absolutely delightful time at something called the Color Factory here in Manhattan. And my friends Pamela and Carol posted about it, and they're like, Brandy, you have to go to this thing. And I was like, yes, okay. Now, it's one of these places that I wrongly assumed was just kind of like Instagram selfie zone, where it was just like different backgrounds set up to take pictures in front of. But this is actually way more interactive, immersive, like much more of a sort of, delightful kind of museum experience in this Color Factory, all around color, in a super lovely and playful way. And we all we're just like bursting with joy. It was really, really awesome. So we did that. We had lovely slices of pizza. I found some gluten-free pizza. And then instead of the amoeba around the streets of New York with our group of 7, Sam and I went and got coffee. And this thing that came up, I'm just checking my time. I'm good. Okay. The thing that came up was about teaching and copying and learning, and a couple different things were part of this conversation between Sam and I. So I had the pleasure of meeting Sam when he attended my second lab. So I started the labs in 2012, and he joined me for the one that was in January of 2013. And so thankful for Sam and our friendship. And Sam and I were 2 of the 4 co-editors for the anthology from 2016 called Drawn Together Through Visual Practice. And that anthology is fantastic if you want to get a really great variety of stories about different ways people have some sort of visual practice. So it's not very, what I love about it is not all completely like at the wall as a graphic facilitator. So that's a little tiny bit about my love fest with Sam Brad. And we were talking, and one thing that came up was, I mentioned we were talking about the Agerbeck method, and I said, some people love the name, some people hate the name, and Sam goes, I hate it. I'm like, okay, totally fine. And I go, so why do you think why do you hate it? He's like, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. But I think, one of the things he brought up, which is very useful to hear, is that it sounds like I'm teaching people to draw like me. And this is always something that comes up in the lab, which is people join me for the lab, and it's only 6 people, and it's 3 like super immersive days. And almost every lab, and I think we just had lab 19, number 19, lab 20, August, with me this summer in Chicago, that always comes up is about personal style. How do you find your own personal style? And the sub question to that is, how do I learn from you, Brandy, without being a clone or being a copycat? And generally, I say the biggest thing is, I think a lot of people have learned the way to learn is to copy. And I do see some merit in that, but I think that's the go-to most people go go towards. And what was so valuable about this conversation with Sam was that my belief is that, just try something on your own first. And I certainly talk about this in the Agerbeck Method, the online course, but like, try something on your own first and see what happens, even if it feels super awkward, because it will feel super awkward because it's something new. There's always that like really tough beginning part when you're learning until you start making progress before you hit that flow state. That's what the coveted, really feeling like something is in flow. But it's gonna feel like crunchy and weird because it's new, but it's still absolutely worth working through that new part to get to that progress and get to that, competency and mastery. So a lot of times I say, like, let this part be like you just trying to figure stuff out for your own, because I think that's the invaluable time to think for yourself, try stuff out, and see what you come up with. I think so often people very quickly jump to, let me find somebody who has more experience and copy them. But you're missing out on this really awesome experience to just kind of like muck around and see what happens. And I think that's when the most original stuff happens. And I have to fully admit I'm biased because I was doing all that all through my childhood on my own. That's what helped me develop my own style, was just hours and hours of practice, like in isolation. Thankfully, we don't have to be that isolated. But I think there's something really beautiful about spending that time by yourself, just working it out, seeing what happens. Because once you start actively copying, once you start, looking to the wider world, of course that's going to be an influence, but you've kind of missed that beginner sense of just like mucking about, like the really good mucking about, like not the, I think you understand what I mean. So we talked about that idea of the Agerbeck method and I still absolutely stand by the name. Excuse me. I love the name. I stand by the name. I totally understand that some people love it, some people hate it. Totally fine. What I think is important to me about it being named the Agerbeck Method, which, by the way, I don't think I've said explicitly, is the 90-day online course. I consider it the core course in learning visual thinking. Like, that's a foundational course. Now, why I put my name on it, and, very proudly so, is it isn't about trying to create a bunch of Brandy clones at all. That's actually the last thing I want. It's that I've broken down the complexity of visual thinking. And as you'll see in the course, it's way less about visuals and much more about thinking. But it's breaking down the complexity of visual thinking in what I consider a very, very unique way to me from my experience, giving you my experience. Pardon me, a little froggy this morning. From my experience to help you build these skills in yourself so you can be the best you. So it's not, believe me, I want to lend everything I know so you can have a really positive learning experience and to see that progress and to do amazing work and really feel this grasp of these skills and these competencies and these masteries. But again, it's about breaking down the complexity to make it accessible and so you can make it your own. I hope that distinction makes sense. But I do think the Agerbeck method is like, it's taking the idea shapers from the book, The Idea Shapers, and it's about demonstrating them, teaching them in a different sequence, and definitely getting super sequential, which, I said time and again is not my strong suit. What hadn't been my strong suit until I said, you know what, there are folks who need to learn step by step. So get over yourself, Brandy Agerbeck, learn how to do that, put your name on it, and teach. And I'm incredibly thankful for the folks who are in the course, who've progressed in the course, who have given me really wonderful feedback about their experience. And I haven't asked her permission, but just yesterday, somebody finished the course and she said, what do you say to somebody who changed your life? And oh my gosh, like that's the absolute best thing you could possibly hear as a teacher. And again, for me, it's not, it's not about Brandy clones at all. It's about what do I know from my experience that I can share with you so you can think visually, so you can be this super strong visual thinker and do amazing things out in the world. So that's a little bit about our conversation that Sam and I had, and I'm sure there's more to say, but we'll leave it to that today, and maybe I'll tell you more next week. We'll see. But that is me reporting from New York City, and I really appreciate you watching, and I welcome questions. I welcome comments below, but wherever you are, be well, and I'll talk to you later.